Hello students, and welcome to another class of sales management. The topic that we are going to discuss today is forecasting. So what is forecasting? Well, every business needs to plan not just for the present but also for the future. And in order to plan for the future, they need to understand the trends, they need to make certain decisions, they need to forecast. So what is forecasting? Forecasting is the process of making predictions of the future based on past and present data, and most commonly by analysis of trends. However, one needs to understand that forecasting is very, very important to the business, no doubt about it, because it helps them to make those informed business decisions. But what is maybe even more important is for an organization to understand as to why they are doing forecasting. Because it's only when organizations understand what forecasting can and cannot do that they can use the correct techniques to use. Let me explain this most probably in a better fashion. So let us understand that why are we doing forecasting? So are we doing forecasting because we just want to understand the market? Then maybe the degree of accuracy that we need is not that much. On the other hand, if we are doing forecasting because we need to set our sales goals or we need to do the budgeting, then the degree of accuracy that we need is huge. The relevance and availability of historical data. Now, if you are launching a new product which does not exist in the market, it's something absolutely new, and then you use a technique which requires historical data, it does not make sense because there is no historical data. As I said, the degree of accuracy is a very important thing because this directly affects your cost also. The more accurate you want your forecasting to be, the more costly it will be. The time period. So you want it for a short term, you want it for a long term, and then finally how much time one has for making the analysis. So for example, right now in times of COVID, when companies are reforecasting or relooking at their entire forecasting, where the situation is so uncertain and changing every day, the time available for making the analysis may be limited with them. There's a very beautiful article written way back in 1971, and this shows beautifully that what is the relationship between accuracy and the cost. So if you can see, the more accurate you want your data to be, the more cost, the more expensive the whole process will be. So somewhere a company has to decide that what do they want? How much accuracy? What is the amount they have at their disposal? What is the time period? And what kind of data do they have? So I may want a very, very accurate prediction. So for example, causal and econometric models may be giving me a very accurate prediction, but then it requires a lot of data, and we may not have that kind of data. So then we have to use another tool. Talking about tools, on a very broad scale, we can classify all the methods into three different kinds, which is qualitative, time series, and causal method. So what is qualitative technique? Qualitative techniques are usually used when the amount of data that exists with us is not too much, and therefore we rely more on the judgment, the human judgment or the human intervention, and the expert opinion, and so on. Time series method uses different tools of statistics, and it requires, as the name says, a lot of data, and it can predict the trends, it can tell you the cyclical patterns, it can show you how the graph has been in the past and what it can be in the future. Causal method is supposed to be the next step, which is supposed to be very accurate. And this is when, over a period of time, we have been able to establish a relationship between two variables. And we can say that because of this, this happens. So this causes the increase or this causes the decrease. So very broadly, we see that the forecasting has three kinds of broad methods: qualitative, time series, and causal. We will be discussing at least one kind of method of each in the next video. But as I keep emphasizing, it's not important to know the types of methods. What is important to know is which method to use, which will be useful for our organization, which one will suit our goals and help us to achieve our targets. And for that, even before choosing the tools, even before choosing the method, every organization needs to spend some time to understand their focus, their context, and what is it that they are looking at. As I said, forecasting has become extremely important and difficult in times of COVID, where companies have had to relook at their forecasts because no one had predicted COVID. So today, companies are redefining their goals, are re-predicting the future with absolutely no clear visibility, no certain clear visibility of the future. Some of the companies, maybe one of the best ways, how are they doing forecasting? They are forecasting not just for one scenario, because there is no certainty, for different scenarios. So you have 4 or 5 scenarios in front of you, and then you do the forecasting. Not only that, you need to classify the cost. So maybe something which is extremely the discretionary cost, the non-discretionary cost, or the contractual cost. In short, you need to prioritize. Prioritize as to what is more important, and look at it in different scenarios. The goals have to be redefined. The path has to be redefined, and therefore the forecasting needs to be redone. But even then, as I said, what businesses forecasting is such an important aspect of sales management, because it helps you to make those informed business decisions. Informed business decisions when you are clear about what you are looking at. In the next video, we will be talking about the different types of methods. Think about this. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.